Hey everyone, welcome to Tina Tries. First of all, I want to say thank you to everyone who took the time out to watch my Jordan reaction video. I can't believe how popular that was. Like, I am speechless. Due to the overwhelming response to that video, I am definitely going to be adding some more in the future, like watching Larry Bird and Kobe Bryant videos. So thank you to everybody who watched and made suggestions. I will be adding these into my repertoire. Today is going to be a usual build video. I thought this would be a good time to talk about scaling. So I went really huge with this build and I made a 20-inch Mickey Mouse statue. But it wasn't all pixie dust and churros. When I scaled this, he had some very huge gaps that needed to be filled in. So I tried a bunch of different methods to try and bridge the gap. I used my brand new 3D printing pen, and I also used a plastic wood filler. So let's see which one ends up being the hero of the day. This model is by Koss and was found on MakerWorld. I did reach out to the original model creator on MakerWorld, but I never heard back from them. And since then, the file has been taken down. If I do hear back from them, I will add any extra information to the description below this video. Even though the original model is no longer available on MakerWorld, this is still a really good example of some of the issues that you can run into when scaling. You can use any file you want to follow along with this episode. Open up whichever software you use, load your file, and increase the scale. You can choose whatever numbers you want to follow along with this exercise. In this case, I used the Mickey files and I scaled him from 100% to 325%. I printed this on an H2D, an X1 carbon, and an A1 mini. I used black, white, yellow, and red PLA for this. I also used spray paint and miter apple glue for this. As usual, everything will be linked in the description below. The show must go on, right? Hang with me here this week, guys. I am really sick, so I sound a little weird, but I'm gonna power through this. Today I'm going to be putting together this really awesome print and assemble Mickey Mouse. So we scaled this up. I will talk about the scaling later on in the video. For right now, I'm just going to assemble everything together. I'm going to be using the miter apple glue with the activator spray on this one. I painted Mickey's face with a peach colored automotive spray. This was a matte spray, just because I didn't have any filaments that I thought matched his skin tone well enough. And yeah, let's get to it. I am going to start with his eyes here. First, I'm gonna put the pupils in. And there's one eye. And there is our second eye, and I'm going to add them to his face. There we have his right eye. I'm gonna let that dry. The activator spray, if I put the glue on there, it's gonna instantly harden. Now for the second eye. And there we have Mickey's eyes. Next, we're gonna glue his tongue. There we have his tongue. Next, we're gonna glue Mickey's nose on. And there we have Mickey's nose. Now I'm going to glue the buttons onto his pants. So these are different size pegs here, which is nice because then you know exactly which button goes on which side. There is his right button. And there we have his left button. So it takes a little bit of fiddling to figure out the orientation of the legs, but now that I have figured that out, I can glue the legs onto the feet. And there's our first leg. And there is our second leg. Now I am going to attach each leg to his pants. Alright, we have the first leg. And there we have his second leg. I'm going to glue Mickey's face onto the body. There we have Mickey's face. Next, we are going to do his ears. These also have different size notches. You can't mess up the ear placement. The big one goes on this side and the small one goes on this side. So I'm going to start with the smaller ear. There's his right ear. And there's his left ear. Next, we're going to attach Mickey's body to his pants. So here we have a prime example of an issue you can have when you're scaling. So any imperfections that you have on a small model, when you blow them up, the imperfections will get bigger. This body portion was not cut evenly. So when I put it together, I have some gaps here. There are several ways that this can be fixed. So I could use a plastic wood filler to fill in these gaps and then paint the difference. If you have a 3D printing pen, you can also use that to fill in the gaps if you have more of the filament that's missing. So in this case, it would be the black. So it's easily fixable, but this is just a good example of when you scale up, any imperfections in the model are also going to scale up. So the last part here is to put on Mickey's hands. There's his left hand. And there is his right hand. That came out really cute. So, right after I cut the camera, Mickey fell over and his foot fell off because it wasn't lined up perfectly. So he was a little off balance, but it broke completely. So, since I was going to try and patch this gap here with my new 3D printing pen, this one right here, I have not used this before. So this is gonna be an experiment for everyone. We're gonna see how this goes. Let's feed my filament in here. So my pen is heating up. I have it heating to 175 because that is this pen's suggestion for PLA. Let's see if this works. Interesting. It's maybe not the cleanest solution. I think I might be able to smooth this out with one of my wood burning tools. So I am going to get that. So I have my little wood burning tool with this flat paddle attachment on it, and I'm just gonna try and smooth this out a little bit. We'll see how that goes. Not the greatest patchwork, but it works. I might clean up the lines, but it worked wonders gluing his foot back on. So I definitely recommend that for patching up parts that break. I really did not like how the seams looked after I had used the 3D printing pen and the wood burner. So I ended up sanding the seams down, and then the seam on his back I filled with my trusty old plastic wood filler, and I think that came out so much better. All right, so I need to wait for this to dry, and then I will come back and paint, which I did not want to do on this, but it's unavoidable, so I'll be back. My wood filler has been drying overnight. I've sanded down all of the parts that I did the 3D pen on, and now I'm going to paint this so that everything is uniform again. So there is our coat of black. Next I am going to do the red on his pants, and we'll see how it looks. And there we have our painted Mickey. And here it is, the finally completed Mickey Mouse. This one was supposed to be an easy AMS-free print and assemble project, and because of the scaling issues, this guy turned into a beast. This print is super cute. Like, I really love the design. The issue is just that because I scaled him up so huge, any tiny little imperfection in the file became a huge imperfection in my giant print. When you make prints larger, it's almost like you have to go through it with a fine-tooth comb to make sure that you look for any of these imperfections, especially on seams that are going to match up with other parts. One other problem that you also should be aware of when you're scaling, if parts are on several different plates, make sure that the original scaling of the file matches. I've seen plates where one part was 100% and another part was 90%, so that's something else to watch out for. Make sure to scale every part the same amount. In terms of patching up broken pieces, I definitely recommend using the 3D printing pen with the, I used my wood burner to smooth it out a little bit. This right here is now a solid joint. Like, that is put back together. It was great. I definitely need some more practice to make these seams look pretty, because I don't think I should have to sand these down when I'm done with them, but it was my first time, and hey, I gave it a shot. I have seen the welding done beautifully, just my skills are not there yet. If you have any tips or tricks, let me know in the comment section below. For general patchwork, like smaller seams and gaps in between pieces that you've stuck together, I definitely recommend using the plastic wood filler. This is super easy to put in place. You can wipe the excess off with a wet paper towel, and the seams disappear. You can paint over it, you can sand it down. It is extremely versatile, and I usually use that on my pieces when I'm trying to hide seams. However, I would not use that to fix a broken piece, as it's not strong enough to withstand the pressure. Overall, this build was a really fun one. This is a super cute build, and I really hope that the file becomes available again soon, because other people should get to enjoy this masterpiece right here. I will be taking the lessons learned from this print and making a life-size Bluey figure in the near future, so stick around for that one. Thanks again to everyone who has joined us and watched my videos and commented and liked and subscribed. I really appreciate it. You guys are super awesome. Next week starts my block of spooky season projects. So definitely come back for that one. I have some really good projects coming up. And obviously more reaction videos. Thank you guys, and I will see you on the next one.